watching. You are watching.
You're watching. You guys are watching.
You're watching. Watching Soulful Discussion.
So hi, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. I'm doing great. And so, how did our paths just cross today? How did you and I just meet?
Super random.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a parking lot. I wasn't even supposed to be here.
Yeah. And you can see that Target logo in the background right there.
You see the damage?
Absolutely.
It happens back there, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you like say completely random. You weren't supposed to be here.
You're like, excuse me, can I get your number? I was like, okay, well then, are you down for an interview? I'm just kidding.
Absolutely. So yeah, I approached you about doing an interview, and what's the interview going to be about?
Mental health, feet, and something else, right?
Reflexology.
Okay, there you go.
All right. So in terms of mental health, are there any topics that you kind of research and follow closely that you like that are important to you? Anything like that?
Yeah, because I struggled with it for a bit.
Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about like overcoming like different anxieties we may have in life, like some approaches that you can use, some ways to kind of cope with it. When we get there, I'd like to get your feedback on like what are some things that are useful for you. Okay?
For sure.
What about reflexology? You ever heard of it before?
It has something to do, I believe. Don't
Okay,
quote me.
Let's hear it.
Something, I think like stretching or something like that, maybe. Okay, I
Kind
don't
of
know.
close.
Okay.
So when we get there, I'll kind of go over it. Maybe I bet you've heard of it before, but maybe it just doesn't like connect in terms of like what you know about. So we'll talk about it. Okay.
Sure.
Let's get to the first question. What's something that you like that other people might find to be weird, and like could be just a hobby that you have, or maybe a certain way you eat your food?
Puzzles,
okay.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of puzzles are we talking about?
Anything. Like the hard ones, like 1,000 pieces.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure it gets difficult sometimes if you ever lose one of those pieces and you got to go searching for it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Has anyone ever made you feel insecure about your body or a body part?
100%.
Okay. Now, is that something you still deal with today, or do you kind of have a control over it?
It's a combination of both.
Okay. And so, what are some things that you do to kind of like cope with it to where it doesn't bother you as much as maybe it did before?
Well, for a while it did, but I believe I was just like numb to the situation, so I didn't know, like, I don't know how, like I was working on my body, but just physically, not mentally. So I think when both things are not aligned, you can't get there, whether you're physically or mentally. Doesn't matter what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So it's hard because I'm like a personal trainer. So like I would encourage people to do X, Y, and Z, but then they're like, I just want to look like you, and I'm
like,
look at myself, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I hate this, I hate that. So
absolutely. And I think that society, like especially like when we look at things like
media.
Instagram, Facebook,
it fucks with you.
Man, a lot of people. It's all good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really messes with people. So lovely to hear like kind of some of the things that you did to kind of get past that. If there was one thing you could change about yourself, doesn't have to be physical, what would you change?
Nothing, because that's just who I am.
I love that. Okay, and so this is always that question that I ask just to kind of gauge, and there's no right or wrong answer to it.
Yeah.
Some people like kind of like think about it in a way where they're like, hey, I want to change this, but then there are those people who kind of like, hey, I'm happy with where I'm at in life, and my experiences have brought me to where I am, and so I'm kind of happy with that. So yeah,
you have to be thankful for the good and the bad. Makes you who you are.
That's what makes us who we are. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Otherwise, we would be a whole bunch of like
the same people. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no fun in that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into these questions now. How do you feel about your feet? What are your thoughts?
They're good.
They're good.
I take care of them. They help me walk. They help me jump, squat, everything.
Got it. And you said like you're a personal trainer, so so you got to be really important to you because it's part of the balance, right? Keeping your foundation like secure, right? Has anyone ever complimented you before on your feet?
Yes.
Okay. Are we talking men, women?
Everything.
Really?
Yeah.
So both men and women?
Yeah. This weekend actually I had a girl and a guy in the same day, which I thought was funny.
Oh,
but
wow.
I was like, thank you.
And so how does it make you feel getting those compliments? Like, is it because like for some people it's kind of off-putting? Like they don't like appreciate it as much. How do you feel when you get those type of compliments?
I think a compliment's a compliment, so I accept it. So many people will look at something nice, but just because they're unhappy with themselves, they won't give someone that compliment. So I always tell people like, the little things matter. Like it's the little things.
Absolutely, and I think it's all about like the context, right? Because as long as it's not coming across like
disrespectful, genuine.
Exactly. So, all right. What would your thoughts be? Well, first of all, before we get there, is there a difference in how you feel about compliments you get from men and women? Not just about your feet, but in general, like any compliment that you get from men and women. do you feel differently about how they?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so they kind of feel the same
I mean,
to you?
just like what you mentioned, it all depends on.
Context.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. So now let's get to the next question I was going to ask. What would your thoughts be on if you were, I don't know what your dating situation is now, are you single or?
I currently left my 9-year relationship like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
so.
wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that.
Bless me, what you mean?
Okay, all right. But what would your thoughts be on if you started dating somebody who's into feet? And do you need me to put context behind what I mean by that?
No, some people who are like, not like a foot fetish, but like they're drawn to that.
Admiration, yeah. So like they would like want to give you a foot massage, rub on your feet, kiss on your feet.
I think
they
there's
still appreciate you
different
as a whole.
love language, so maybe that's just the way of that they show affection or appreciation.
Okay.
I think you just have to let them be like.
So for you, it would be something that you're okay with?
Yeah.
Cool. In terms of like when you first start dating someone, when is the right time to kind of talk about the things that you're into, and not just from a physical standpoint, but mentally? This is where I'm going.
Straight off the bat, because you gotta let them know who you are.
Absolutely.
Because then there's no surprises, you
Exactly.
know. And then you're like, oh, I really like this person, but then I don't like this.
You find out all these things later, right?
Yeah, and it's just like lay your cards out.
Exactly. And so you'll be surprised about how many people who I ask that question to, and like. They have like timelines where it's like, oh, I need to go on like
I think
X amount of
that's
dates.
trouble.
Yeah.
I think that's trouble, not only for the relationship, but for yourself.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like when you, especially if it's somebody who you know you have like
a connection
with, you need to get that out there, like to find out like, hey, are we gonna be okay here or not?
Good or not?
Absolutely. Next question: how often do you get pedicures?
Every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe every 3
3
weeks, just depending.
Like
Typically,
gel pedicure sometimes.
Gel always.
Absolutely.
Every 2 weeks. I mean, sometimes it's 3 weeks depending on like
how you
schedule.
feeling or whatever. Yeah.
Just because I don't like to wait.
I got
So
it.
you know,
Okay.
if I have time to go on an afternoon on a weekend, I won't do it because
Got it.
I'm not gonna waste 2-3 hours waiting for someone.
Yeah. Now, have you ever heard of a medical pedicure before?
Medical pedicure?
Medical pedicure.
No, I have not.
So that's when you go see a podiatrist,
Okay.
specialist of the foot.
Yeah.
They basically will take a look at your feet to make sure your nails grow correctly.
Okay.
They make sure your toe alignment's great. They make sure you don't have dead skin or fungus or anything like that. And they do all the work there. They use medical grade equipment. So it's much cleaner than like when you go to like a nail salon.
Yes,
Sometimes
yes.
you hear about people who get like, infections and things like that.
Yes.
What would your thoughts be on maybe seeing somebody like that? Like going, checking that out.
Down for it.
All right, cool. And they say you should go see somebody like that maybe every 3 months or so, like just to keep the upkeep.
Who
up, to
says
make
that?
Sure. That's what podiatrists say. Because they say what
Okay.
happens is people
But just
come,
so you know, I don't believe a lot of things that doctors
Okay.
say because they're
Yeah.
all about profits. Like,
That's true.
so,
But they do say like sometimes people come to them later in life when they have like all these different problems. Like I was talking to one lady who her mom is diabetic.
you
And
see,
so
but
she kind of has to go.
yeah,
so-
and there's a lot of things that you could have done. Not trying to shame on anybody, but there's a lot of things you could do to prevent that. One,
Exactly.
take care of your nutrition. You
Yep.
work out. That way, you don't have to see a pediatrist.
So true.
Not
So
saying
true.
you don't have to
You
go
don't still
see
need to go
one,
yeah.
but yeah.
Absolutely.
Just-
Absolutely. Okay. How often do you wear like open toe shoes, sandals, flip flops, things like that?
Everything. I'm all over the place.
Okay, so you kind of mix up your wear.
Yeah, I have a ton of shoes.
Okay, is it
Yeah.
based on like kind of like where you're going, like what type of event, like stuff like that?
It's a combination, yeah.
Got it.
I have a lot of tennis shoes and a lot of high heels. And a lot
Well,
of
you're a
sandals.
personal trainer, so I would imagine you got a lot of tennis shoes because
Yes.
you're living an active lifestyle, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. How often do you go barefoot, no shoes?
I try to once a day, just grounding.
Grounding, yeah.
So
Great, I'm glad that you know
I
about that.
try to do that.
Yeah.
I don't do it every day,
Mhm.
but I try to do it. So I would
As
say
much
in
as
a
possible.
week,
Yeah.
at least 4 times.
Okay. All right. Nice. And so it's always interesting how many people I go to and I tell them about the grounding, the earthing, because
It's not on social media, just so you
Yeah.
know. That's why people don't know about
Exactly.
it. Because Cam doesn't talk about it,
Yeah.
guys. So.
And it's interesting because I had a woman who likened like grounding and earthing to like when you're a kid, and like you like some of the funnest times you have in life are just like being barefoot and just running around and you just
dirty
feel-
as hell,
Yeah.
hair messed up.
Yeah, and so she was mentioning that to me, and I was like, man, I never connected the dots with that,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, that same type of feeling. And sometimes it's important just to
Free.
do that, just to decompress, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. You had a long day, go out and just stand there and just feel that, energy,
Yes.
So absolutely. All right. So now, can't we see what your feet look like up close? Would that be
Sure.
something you do? Okay.
Good thing I always get my feet done.
She always got her feet done, so she's good with it. Okay. All right.
But I'm gonna be restricted here, guys,
Okay. Can I get you to
because
sit up here and then put them up?
oh
here?
yeah.
There we go.
This is so funny.
And what color are we working with here? Like a neon orange?
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
guys. I have my socks.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. All right. And can I get you like to extend? I don't know if I can get you like to extend your feet out this way so we can see the bottoms. All right.
See, they're pretty clean, guys.
Very nice. And what size do you wear?
I have a big foot. I'm like an 8.5, 9.
But you're like 5'6".
Yeah.
Oh, 5'6". Okay, so that's like kind of in alignment with how tall you are. Right?
Yeah.
All right. And let me get you to cross the other way. All right. So now, how are you feeling? We're going through this right now. We asked you to take a look at your feet. How are you feeling right now? What are your thoughts about the interview process so far?
I'm fine.
Cool. And leave your feet up and we'll do a couple more exercises.
Okay.
So let's talk about the mental health, right? So a lot of times when I get to this point, it's a lot easier for you. You seem to be like a more open person, I would imagine, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So some people, I get to like this point, and my interview is designed to kind of like test and gauge like your comfortability, like throughout the interview. Sometimes I get to this point and people are sometimes uncomfortable, which is okay. Like I don't expect for everyone to be comfortable with it.
Yes.
So I always ask and I pose the question like, so what's the worst that's going to happen in this moment, right? That we're going through, right? Is there anything that's going to threaten your life or your safety, anything like that? And if not, like, what can we do to proceed, right? Like, is there a way to overcome that? Because we're going to be experiencing things in our life, right, that are going to come at us 100 miles per hour, right?
Yeah.
We don't expect it or whatever like that, but how do we overcome the obstacles that we may have? So what are some steps that you kind of take, like, when you get things like that happen in your life, when they're, like, unexpected and you kind of have to make a decision? What are some things you do?
Depending on what the situation is,
Okay.
whether if it's business, if it's health, there's certain people that you talk to for that. So
Kind of like an inner circle, is that what you mean? Like
kind of, because I know this sounds really fucked up to say, but if I'm having like a business, I don't know how to say it, like if there's an issue with business, like I wouldn't call my girlfriends.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because they're, or how can I say this? It kind of sounds fucked up. Like, I wouldn't ask anyone that's never been in that situation.
Yeah.
So there's people that I would call that
have a reference point to
yes.
Got it.
Or say they don't have a business themselves, but they've worked for like, big companies or whatever it is. I'll ask them for their advice.
Okay.
Or someone that, say a relationship issue. I wouldn't call my friend who's had like the white picket fence.
Yeah.
Like, or, I'll
need
call my
somebody who's been
homegirl
through
who
some
has
of the
like
same
3 baby
things.
daddies.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Something that kind of measures
relates
like,
to that.
Exactly.
Like, that's what I like to do.
Okay.
Although at the end of the day, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want.
Absolutely.
But, I can call those and ask them for that opinion.
Yeah, and then you just take what you need, right? And then you leave the rest of it.
Yes.
That's good. Okay, I like that. So, and there's a lot of people who like sometimes like overthink situations. Like they get presented with those types of situations, and then they get stuck. Like I've been like that in the past, right? Like,
and that's stressful because then you start creating unrealistic events and situations that haven't even happened, but you just get stuck and you're just like thinking and thinking and
Absolutely. So let's move on to the reflexology. I like to talk to you about that and see what your thoughts are. So reflexology deals with the different pressure points you actually have in your hands and in your feet. Now, do you remember hearing about that?
Yeah.
All right. So all those points like kind of correlate to different parts of your body.
Yes, I believe
it's actually called like zone therapy. So like, you touch this spot right here and it can alleviate some stress and tension to another spot.
Yes, I do body sculpting, so I do a lot of lymphatic drainage. Okay. So, there's pressure points that you target, and it helps. I mean, the benefits are like endless. So,
nice.
Yeah.
I always love hearing like people who've like gone through like something similar to that because they can kind of give me information about it. That's great. So like, have you ever done the reflexology portion, or is it just more of the?
I've done the reflexology, if I'm correct, at a Asian massage place.
Because you can do it through acupuncture, acupressure, and then there's actually just like a massage therapy.
Yes, I think I went to like a massage therapy, and I think I was having like issues. I mean, I usually have like issues with like UTIs or something. Then they were gonna like target like my kidneys or something like that.
Absolutely.
So I have tried it before.
Okay. Was it? Do you think it was helpful, or what were your thoughts on after you left?
I was doing a comment. I mean, I did feel good afterwards, like, super relaxed. I did feel like energized within the next few days and stuff like that. But I don't specifically remember like if it helped because I was doing like a combination of like.
So it could have been any one of those things.
But everything's like, things that you do like, I don't like spices and herbs and this and that.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it could be a combination of things,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely. So with that being said, we've entered the portion of reflexology. How ticklish do you tend to be?
Pretty ticklish.
Scale of 1 to 10. Like, what are we talking?
I'm like at a 6.
So
5,
in the middle. So like kind of towards the middle.
Yeah.
Would you mind if we tested on camera to see?
Oh my God.
Is that okay?
No.
No?
No.
Okay with that? So what's the worst that could happen like if we went through that process?
Oh,
You'd be super ticklish, is that what it
Yes.
is? Okay.
Yeah.
Now I do have some tricks. I don't know if you ever go to the pedicures and like sometimes maybe you may be a little ticklish. I have like a
Yeah, I usually tell them like take it very, very slow. Like, and I usually ask for like the callus remover because it can stays on a little longer. That way they don't have to scrub so much. So I'm like,
all right,
my girl knows.
Okay, all right. So let me get you extend your feet out again. We're gonna do a couple of exercises because you're not okay with the tickling part, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get you to extend your feet out. We're gonna do a couple of exercises. This is to test the flexibility to see like how everything is. Okay.
Okay.
All right, and put them up like a little bit closer this way. There we go. All right, let me get you to bend your toes, make a fist. Tell me if you feel any pain or discomfort from that. Is it easy to do? I did hear a toe pop.
Yeah,
right?
it happens.
All right, relax. Spread your toes. Tell me if you feel any pain, discomfort from that. Easy to do?
Yeah.
Relax. Wiggle your toes for about 10 seconds and tell me if you feel any pain or discomfort. Easy, not hard to do?
No.
Okay, now the trick that I was going to teach you about, wiggling your toes. If you ever go and like you feel like extremely ticklish during your pedicure, wiggle your toes a bit and it will actually alleviate like that ticklish. Yeah, absolutely. So let's wrap up the interview and you can put your shoes and stuff on right now if you want to.
Sure.
Let's wrap up the interview. So in terms of my approach, when I came up to you and I asked you to do the interview, you trying to figure out where you saw it, you put it under your back right there.
Oh, you see? Oh, and my
yeah.
Okay.
In terms of my approach when I came up to you and asked you to do the interview, was it good? Was it bad? What were your thoughts about it?
It's good, and I'm always out, like, you know, you're out trying to get your hustle.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
you know, like, you don't have to be, like, at a fancy office trying to get people to come in there because it takes money to get there.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's why I'm, like, I'm down, you
Definitely
know?
appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. In terms of the interview from start to finish, did you see how everything was going in the line? Did it make sense to you? Did you learn anything new from the information?
I don't think that, maybe the podiatrist.
Medical.
That,
pedicure?
but as you
Okay.
heard,
You're right. Yeah, you're right. I don't put all my eggs in that basket. Absolutely. I got you.
No, because remember, guys, there's no wealth in health. So,
Absolutely.
anyhow, yeah, because you kind of like opened up the book and you know you kept on going. You didn't get straight to the middle, which is better. Especially, I mean, I'm pretty confident myself, but you know, maybe for someone that's not, they'll be like, well, it's none of your business type of thing. So,
absolutely.
But
absolutely.
you know, you did make it much more approachable.
Okay. Cool. And so the last thing I'll ask, from a mental health standpoint, maybe a life lesson that you learned, some wise words somebody once imparted to you that you can say to my channel?
I would say do you.
Okay. All right.
Because it doesn't matter who you're with, what's going on in your life. You gotta take care of yourself because no one's gonna do it. So
Absolutely.
they'll take advantage. They'll be with you on the goods and the bads, but just take care of you. Life's too short.
It's true.
Life's
Absolutely.
too short.
Absolutely. You
Take
need
care
to
of your
take
health.
advantage, right?
Take care of your health. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're
Definitely
welcome.
appreciate you stopping and doing the interview with us.
Yeah.
And we hope that you have a great one, okay?
Thank you.
All right.